Can you browse on Linux? Yes, the straightforward question is, can you browse on Linux? The simple answer is yes. I know I can browse Linux. As I see, I am on Linux, Arch by the way, and I am able to browse the internet using various browser. Like this one is Google Chrome. I have Chrome, that means the OG Chromium. I have Firefox, so I am able to browse the internet, right? No, I cannot browse the internet with its full potential, especially driver issue, especially GPU or even multimedia capability. You don't have the capacity to run all those things on any Linux. Yes, I am not a super genius, but I know in and out of Linux and I can build something on Linux. So, am I the qualified one? I'm not sure, but I understand I cannot use the proper potential or even say proper power of the web I cannot use on my Linux system. So this is the saddest day of my life. I was on a meeting and suddenly the camera stopped working. I had to reboot. Okay, I get it. Linux is not like that much of stable on desktop, but I wonder why it is so much stable on servers. See, each and every server except some BSDs, all of my servers are on Linux based servers. So why it sucks on desktop or daily day-to-day usage? I'm not sure. Maybe you are capable enough to answer that question, but I'm not sure why Linux such a loser on desktop. Linux is much great on Chromium OS, Chrome OS. Chrome OS Flex even has greater capability as far as running multimedia, as far as running web GPU, running LLMs. LLMs means local LLM, not like you are fetching large language model or so-called AI information from the server. No, you run your own AI model on your system. That is called the superpower of running artificial intelligence that you don't get on Linux systems. So even Windows, I genuinely feel so much ashamed. Like each and every, I may get offended. Yes, I should be offended, and each and every Linux fanboy should get some offend. Like we don't get the power and flexibility of running cutting edge technologies, even simple web GPU, or even you run YouTube for that instance, 4K, 8K, you run YouTube, you will see huge difference in performance. On the same hardware, you run Windows, you will get better performance. You run Chromium OS Flex, you will get much better performance. But when you run Linux, even the cutting edge Arch Linux, the performance goes very much down. In case of Nvidia, you will not get free, that means freedom oriented drivers. Even you manage the proprietary blob, it will not work as efficient as possible. I'm not sure, but I know there are some open source free tools are there. You can emulate Windows API and you can play games on that. That means under the hood it will run on Linux, even on Arch Linux, but it will emulate those Windows API so that you can play your Windows game within the Linux systems. I will try doing that, but I'm not sure if I will get those performance. But today what I will explore those things. Like see, web GPU, there is a great tool called chat.webllm.ai, and it provides simplest way to run local LLM on your device. That means you don't have to install, you don't have to tinker around, you don't have to like scratch your head how to deploy local LLMs within your system. You will just visit this website, or even I have another one like chat.siliconqueen.com. I think this is the website. By the way, it is also having the same technology behind this chat.webllm.ai. I have borrowed all those technologies and tried to implement the same. Okay, seems WebLLM. I'm not sure WebLLM, or I forgot the subdomain. I worked on this like nearly a year ago, and I kept that live so that I can use on my Chromebooks, on my iPads, or even my other systems. So it will be like my system. I am using that system. That is a great freedom, and I like freedom. That means I don't use Google or Apple to store all my photos, all my videos, all my memories. I like to own those things. Even for history, when I purchased my first digital camera, all those photos still I do have. Actually, I maintain three simple rules. That is called 3-to-1 backup systems. You will follow 3-to-1 backup system and you will not lose a single piece of digital information in your life. So better you start following backup system, having multiple places and multiple copies if possible, and that is much cheaper. It is not costlier than keeping your data on other servers, AWS, Google, or any cloud provider in this matter. What I am trying to say is, like, you don't have the freedom, you don't have a flying freedom to run your own things on your own system, as those drivers are not available, those technologies are proprietary. Like, see the example of Google Chrome. Yes, the Chrome is not open source. Each and everyone tries to convince me that yes, Google Chrome is open source and you can build it yourself. Yes, I have built Chrome by myself, but the difference, performance difference, capacity difference, API difference is huge. The performance is not quite good enough for Google Chromium. But when you run Google Chrome, especially on Windows, it works much better. On Mac OS, it runs smoothly. But when it comes to Linux, it do not work as expected. As you see, those reports on Google Chrome are quite in depth, and fortunately or unfortunately, web GPU API is available. See, this exists, but it do not work. It will fail each and every time you try. And for the Firefox, see, only this much information is available. Like, it is simply, it will give a big finger and it will say that it will not work. If you follow this link, it will say, just see. I think I will be impressed. Like, it is taking quite a long time just to open that link. Let's open from here. See, Chrome opened that faster. Okay, see, Android, from this version it works. Chrome OS, it started even much earlier, but on the Linux, it is behind a flag 23. On Mac OS, it works fine from this version. See, on Windows version 1.13 onwards, it will like work smoothly. So it is my saddest day, just because I have to use Windows. I don't feel good enough and secure enough. It feels like other people's, not even Microsoft, other people will take a look on my system. If I say those telemetry network transactions, I see a lot of unknown IP, unknown domains are fetching and getting my system's data. I don't know if I am the owner of this system or somebody else is having a peek look on my system. I'm not sure, but still I will have to use a Windows system, especially for meetings and communication platforms. So let's see how the most freedom oriented browser does. Like, if you ask, like, what is the most freedom oriented operating system, I will say it is the BSD operating system. Even it suppresses Linux. I am also a fanboy of Linux, but when it comes to usability, when it comes to freedom, do you even understand, like, a whole lot of other companies having their own benefit behind the Linux Foundation? So even people working and employee of Linux Foundation, they don't use Linux in day-to-day basis. That means they do not run a Linux system on daily usage. So it is a very sad environment. On BSD, it's, yes, you see, the Mac OS is itself a fork of BSD, but how polished they made it is a good achievement. Okay, it seems only few browsers on only few operating system platform, those are supported, like multimedia performance, multimedia experience, and WebLLM. All those cutting edge technologies, all those feature rich technologies, those do not work on Chrome, especially on communication platform. Even OBS, only the OBS Studio works nicely. I would say nicely, not great. It works great on Macs. It works great on Windows system, but it do not work on Linux system. Great. It works nicely, although I am also using OBS Studio. So again, it's a sad day for me to go for Windows, download a ISO. I'm not sure whether to get a license from. I see there are a lot of websites selling Windows license very, very cheap. I'm not sure whether I will go that pathway, but I'm pretty much sure that I will not pirate or install any any other, like there are several ways you can activate. But by the way, there is a way you can genuinely comfortably activate your Windows. That code is literally visible on the GitHub page. If I search activate win GitHub, and this is a simple script, it is on GitHub, and GitHub is owned by Microsoft. I'm not sure what the flying F freedom is going on, but I understand it is also based on KMS on, so it feels much safer and much nicer than getting a random ISO from other websites, sketchy websites. So it's better to have the ISO file from Microsoft itself and get your thing done from like cheap activation key, or if you try to purchase from Microsoft, it will cost a lot, but I'm not sure of what path to go. But I'll have to get a Microsoft Windows. But still, I see there is Windows 10 and 11 is my choice. Windows 10 is getting end of life very soon, or I'm not sure if already has expired. I don't understand. I don't get it. Like whether still on the date I can run Windows XP and it works fine. Why do I need to update? Windows 7, Windows 8.1, Windows 8, each and every version is still workable, but I will not be able to run updated softwares. That is the main reason. So this is a decision I'll have to take whether to go with Windows 10 or Windows 11. If I remember correctly, my younger child is having a Windows 10 system, but that system is bound to have an online account. But I strongly disagree with having online account with Microsoft. So it is my personal choice. So I'll have to take a decision whether to go with Windows 10 or Windows 11, whatever the case is. So as you see, the Chrome is unable to handle, Firefox is unable to handle, but you see Firefox on Windows, it works. I'm not sure where I have found that information. Unable to, oh yes, here it is. WebGPU was enabled on Windows in Firefox 141, which was released in 2025/7/22. That means it is pretty much working on Windows, but on Linux, Firefox cannot handle WebGPU or modern web related APIs. There are other updated APIs like speech to text or text to speech. Those also do not work on Linux. But I feel good because under the hood, what it does, it do not process those audio on your device. It simply streams back to the Google server or the Apple server to process those audio text to speech or speech to text technologies. So it's better it do not work on Linux systems. One major browser I am willing to try that will give some freedom. The browser name is Ladybird, and here is the documentation, and I have cloned the Ladybird source code over here. So let's see if I able to run this. Let's open another window and go to the directory, and let's see what is the command to run. It was nearly here. I see the Python file is responsible to build and run this browser. So let's see if I can build and run this. It has started building. I don't think it will take much of a time because I already, yes, see, this is the Ladybird browser. It is the most freedom oriented browser, and it is written completely from the ground up. It is not like fork from another Chromium or something else. Even Microsoft does it seamlessly. It uses Chromium under the hood, and it uses their proprietary technology to smooth out users experience. This is the Ladybird browser I have built on my system. It is like built from the source code itself, but I wonder what are the source codes and dependencies are there. Like it fetches some source code and binaries from Chromium itself, and I'm not sure. I'll take a deep dive on those things later on if I get time. See if you can open website google.com. Can it open google.com? Let's see. See, Vulkan context. There you go. It successfully opens google.com, but I understand it supports lack of, like, it do not support multiple languages out of the box. It only supports English. As I'm from India, it is providing some Indian languages over here, and I'm unable to select texts. Still, it is work in progress, and it is a great hope that someday we will be able to get a full-fledged working browser on freedom-oriented systems, so that we can build by ourselves and we can run those things. I have a say, like, if you cannot build by yourself, it is a software. If it is a software, you must be able to build by yourself. That is the first and last requirement for each and every one of us, especially if you are searching for moksha or if you are searching for freedom. You must do this. See, each and every click is sending data to this location, this URL, so that it can provide quick search. Okay, that was it. I have tried to browse on Linux and my experience was not good, especially for web LLMs and updated technologies, even with some multimedia browsing. So let's take a quiet guess if it can open this website. And I think web GPU support. Let's check the web GPU support and open a new tab and try to open this web GPU report. See the difference, like Ladybird even unable to generate the report. Okay, the same performance like Firefox. See, Firefox is also unable to provide any kind of extra information, but I see Chrome is able to fetch some extra information. Okay, we'll visit with another journey of finding freedom on digital era on another day.